So I remember this one time. I was about 9 or 10, and it was before we had moved to America. We were living in Abu Dhabi at the time, and I had heard this one word for the first time, and I did not know what it meant. And the word was suicide. So later that day, when my father came home, I asked him, I said, Baba, what does the word suicide mean? And immediately, he got this look, like this very uncomfortable look. Like his pants were too tight, or, he had to go to the bathroom or something like that. And, he said, that's a bad word. Don't say it again. And then he left the room in a hurry. like hurriedly, he left the room. And I felt so bad and so ashamed. I mean, I felt so bad for asking this bad word. What did it mean? I felt so bad for making my father feel uncomfortable. And, I had no idea that I had uttered a bad word. I had no idea that the word suicide was a bad word. And, it was in the Middle East, but, I went to an Indian school. And at my Indian school, we use bad words sometimes. Even though we were not supposed to talk that way, we were not supposed to be mean to each other, or, we were not supposed to be disrespectful to each other. We were supposed to be polite. But, we were children, so we acted like kids. So, when I was a kid, sometimes my classmates and I would get angry and insult each other and call each other names like anywhere else. The difference was in the words. The worst we could ever call each other was a stupid idiot. So the girls who made me mad in school were stupid idiots. And then they'd retort by saying, "Nuh-uh, you're the stupid idiot." And then we would be angry at each other for a while, and then it would be over. However, that was the worst of it. That was the worst of the bad words we used and the names we called each other in my Indian school in the Middle East. But then, just a few months later, I moved to the US, where I got called names like bitch, sand nigger, fucking whore, slut, cunt. Those words are more powerful, carrying immense hatred and vile concepts in them. I was shocked. Can you imagine coming from an environment where stupid idiot was the worst words I knew and the worst thing my classmates and I called each other? Where I got chastised and embarrassed for saying the word suicide. Then to move to America where children my age, I mean literally 9 and 10-year-olds, use such horrible words towards each other. I was shocked in these American schools with my new American classmates who were so filled with hatred, violence, and immaturity compared to what I'd known overseas. Everybody said America was the greatest country in the world, that America, in America, the people were better. But I was seeing things and experiencing things in the US that was the exact opposite of what better meant. Americans were not civilized. They were not nice. And it started at a young age with the kids. My classmates in school. I mean, even the kids were horrible to each other. And this was in 6th grade. That's when I came to the US. So kids in 6th grade were acting like this. Words in different languages carry ideas and concepts that are particular to only that culture and its people. They hold different values in them in the way they are spoken, in the meaning of the words, in the choice of words that one uses to speak to others. Not all languages hold the same meanings or exact concepts and power in their words. For example, the word namaste, which is the common greeting in India. The Indian word namaste carries within it a very deep cultural idea and meaning. It loosely translates to Another example of meaningful words that can be found within a language is the Arabic salutation of Assalamu alaikum. This greeting roughly translates to "May peace be with you" or "Peace for all." These words are powerful and they carry great weight. It is a blessing towards the person who is being addressed. So, language helps to create our consciousness, which in turn creates our concepts, forges our ideas, and affects our way of life. When words like namaste and assalamu alaikum and other words in the language carry within them such reverence and respect, it is natural that the person speaking to them will think in a respectful way, especially when talking to that person. Similarly, when words carry hatred in them, people tend to be more hateful and violent also, because only that concept exists within that word. People tend to act in the manner they think. If they think respectfully, they will tend to speak and act respectfully. If they think with anger, they will tend to speak and act with anger. So, one big difference in the United States was how much more angry my American classmates were, and how bad and vulgar and vile their language was, and what they called each other. They were not innocent like my Indian classmates had been. They were vulgar and just rude and just nasty to each other. My American classmates were the exact opposite of how I had been raised. And personally, I think because Americans use such bad language, it develops bad concepts in their mind too, and it affects their behavior and makes them more angry and aggressive. It's just, my American classmates were very angry and aggressive and vulgar compared to my Indian classmates who were not like that at all. They just weren't. In the Indian culture, we were raised to be respectful and modest and humble and to help each other. But America wasn't like that at all. It was the exact opposite. And it's not better. I mean, it's that way of life. It's not better. And unfortunately, after moving to America, I became aggressive too. And I became violent too. Because that's what was around me in the United States. That was what surrounded me everywhere I went in America. And after moving to America, I finally learned what the word suicide meant. And I realized that the word itself wasn't bad, but it possessed a very, very sad meaning. And nowadays, it makes me so sad to see so many Indians trying to be American, because it is not an improvement. It really isn't. It's better to be kind and nice and humble and not use such bad words like the Americans do. It is not an improvement, and it is not civilized. And it's not cool. And it also damages the purity of your mind and thoughts. And once you're damaged like that, it's virtually impossible to undo that. And having lived both sides, I can say with all honesty that visiting India and my family there and growing up in the UAE with my Indian classmates was so much better than growing up in the United States. And that is my honest experience. It truly was more innocent overseas. It was more pure, and the people I knew, the classmates I had overseas, they were just nicer and more humble. And literally calling somebody a stupid idiot is so much better than what I got called in America. And having lived both sides, I can say with all honesty, and this is my honest opinion, is that it really was better in India, and it was better growing up in the UAE, where things really were more innocent and not as vulgar. And that is my honest experience. And I hope that people who hear this, especially in India or Indians around the world, I hope they realize that imitating America is not good. It's not going to improve your life in the long run. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you next time.